Hey, what's up, Miami? This is 305 Sports Now. Thank you for watching. I am Will, and please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so we can keep growing the 305 family, and I can continue to keep bringing you this content that has received some wonderful support. So I'd like to thank all of you, for all your support, your views, your likes, your watches, and so on. And once again, as promised, all right, I covered last week. I covered the defensive tackles and the ends, and tonight I'll be covering the wide receivers and the tight ends as well. So it's a very jam-packed show that I'll be doing. And also, because of the recent commentary on my channel from those lovely Buckeye fans who I'm assuming are straight out of Columbus. I'm going Columbus, Ohio, not Columbus High, here in Miami. I am going to show them and show all of you my poetic license in terms of how I feel about Buckeye Nation as a University of Miami football fan. All right, so let's get down to it. All right, so first things foremost, one of the things that I will say that Manny Diaz left Mario Cristobal is an array of wide receivers, especially young wide receivers. Okay, so last season we saw a lot of flashes from the wide receiver group. Guys like Romello Brinson, Brashard Smith, right, as well as Keyshawn Smith as well. And Jacoby George, we can't forget him. So we have a good programming and stuff like that when it comes to the wide receiver group. But one of the things that people have been talking about and so on in regards to the wide receiver group is the idea of who's going to be the alpha dog that was left vacant, by guys like Mike Harley and Charles and Rambo, who had unbelievable seasons last year, and were essential in the ascension of one Tyler Van Dyke. Okay, so we have some guys, like I said, Xavier Restrepo. He's actually one of my favorites. As far as the receiver group goes, Jacoby George, Keyshawn Smith, and Romello Brinson, and also let's not forget Brashard Smith as well. But one of the things that Mario Cristobal did, he also added competition and depth and size to that group as well by bringing in JUCO transfer Colby Young. Colby Young is a big dude, all right? He comes in at 6'4", 220 pounds, and had 9 touchdowns as a freshman at the school where he played at last year. And transfer portal addition is Mr. Frank Ladson. Frank Lanston is at 6'3", 205 pounds. He comes from the wonderful University of Clemson. All right, so it's one of the things that I also want to talk about, in general, is the idea of the wide receiver group, the depth, who's what. One of the things that they've talked about is the fact that within this group of wide receivers, there's been issues with drops. Okay, and drops have plagued Miami. They plagued them in the spring game, and apparently there's still a bit of an issue as far as drops go within practice as well. Okay, so so that's what's been reported by groups like Inside the U, and other independent media groups that have covered the Miami Hurricanes. But so that's one thing that the Miami Hurricanes are going to have to deal with, as the season progresses, and also as we continue to practice before the big opener against Bethune-Cookman, which, by the way, is 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away, and we have Hurricanes football. That is absolutely exciting. I'm so dying to see this group just get on that field and just put those pads on, catch some touchdown passes, sack the quarterback, and just run that football down the opposition's throat. I am excited as a Canes fan, all right? I am dying for football to begin. I'm sure all of you are as well. Okay, so one of the guys that has been getting a lot of media attention is Michael Redding. All right, Michael Redding is pretty much has been plagued with injuries. As a player, I believe he's in his second or third season as a Cane. He was a 4-star recruit out of high school, so he's a pretty good stud. Great hands. He's actually one of the few receivers that has not had any drops. All right, or has issues with drops as practice went along. And so on. So he's actually looked good. People have been raving about him as far as in terms of understanding, where he's supposed to be, in terms of the playbook and the play call, his positioning as well. His route running has been pretty good. Josh Gaddis has been working with the wide receivers, firsthand. As in one of the videos that I saw, Josh Gaddis gave a bit of an earful to Colby Young for having bad footwork. So it's something Michael Redding has not had an issue with, throughout practice. He's also not had an issue with catching the football, as well, from any of the quarterbacks, whether it's Van Dyke or Jake Garcia or Ja'Cory Brown, right? So basically all these guys are just vying for playing time, and And one of the guys that I think will get some run this season will be Michael Redding. The good thing about playing, teams like Central Michigan and playing teams like, like Bethune-Cookman to start the season is that you're going to get some playing time because more than likely you are going to pound both schools. It's going to be a tough, we'll say the depth chart looks, at the wide receiver position when they face Texas A&M on September 17th. But that is a matchup that we're all looking forward to, and we're going to see how the Canes match up against elite competition, that's that particular day. But the first two games should be easy victories for the Hurricanes. So I expect, everybody to play, everybody get some reps, and everybody get some run, right? And whether it's the quarterback position, the wide receiver position, the tailback position, even on defense as well. So that's one of the things that I really wanted to address. Now, I wanted to key in on a couple of receivers. The three receivers that I think will get, pretty much the majority of the snaps for this season are number one, Xavier Restrepo. Number two will be Keyshawn Smith. And I do believe Frank Ladson will be the third receiver that will get, the majority of the reps, as far as a 1-2-3 receiver rotation goes. The rest is up for grabs. All right. I think Brashard Smith is going to back up Restrepo, as far as the slot receiver goes. And we'll see if Jacoby George backs up Frank Ladson, out in the wing and so on to see how that goes as well. So we'll see how the rotation ends up. I'll be giving you my report on the depth chart when it's officially released, before the season starts, and break down a little bit of what I deem will happen. So I want to go over just a couple guys, right? I want to go over, first things foremost, Xavier Restrepo. Xavier Restrepo had a pretty good year last year in terms of receptions and yards, right? He much improved from the year prior. He had 24 catches last year with 373 yards and also 2 touchdowns, all right? So that's a little bit of what Xavier Restrepo brought to the table. What I like about Restrepo is he's gutsy, all right? He's gutsy. He's fast. He does have good hands. He had that nice little touchdown pass reception that he had from Derek King in the Alabama game. He does, and he has moxie, all right? So it's one of the things that he's not afraid, right? He's not afraid to mix it up. He's not afraid to block. He's not afraid, to go, against the best corners that any team has to offer, especially in the slot position. So that's the one thing I do like about Xavier Restrepo. I think he's just an absolute stud. All right. So that's one of the things that, and I think that he is going to be, the key figure. Like I said, as far as alpha dogs go, as far as who's going to be that guy, that Rambo, that Hearns, that Hankerson, those kind of guys, that Stacy Coley type. I think it'll be Frank Ladson or Xavier Restrepo, but I do believe that Restrepo, because of his experience, on this team and the knowledge, of pretty much the atmosphere. Even though Frank Ladson, who's from here, probably will have something to say about that. But I do believe that I think Restrepo is going to emerge as the alpha dog, for this receiver group, at least in terms of catches. I think maybe Ladson might get more touchdown passes, thrown his way. But I do believe that when it comes to receptions and attitude and swag, per se, I think X-Man is going to be the guy for the Canes. Another guy who also is going to also in line to be that alpha dog too is Keyshawn Smith, right out of California. Keyshawn Smith showed flashes last year. He had also one of the more favorable targets by Tyler Van Dyke. All right, as Smith had 33 catches for 405 yards and 3 touchdown receptions. The ball was very healthily spread around by Van Dyke last year. Okay, everybody under Van Dyke got to eat. Okay, whether it was Jalen Knighton as a running back, whether it was Jacoby George, whether it was Keyshawn Smith, whether it was Will Mallory, Elijah Arroyo, whoever had an opportunity to catch the football, TVD got you that ball. He did not have his eyes locked in on just one receiver, right? He was able to distribute the football, as much as he possibly could, which is one of the reasons why Tyler Van Dyke, and we will cover the quarterbacks right before the Bethune-Cookman game. One of the main reasons why Tyler Van Dyke is such a dangerous quarterback, because he has his favorite targets, but he doesn't necessarily have to throw to them, right? That's why you see such a mixed bag of receptions, by these receivers. Okay, so that's one of the things about TVD that you have to love and you have to admire, and so on, as a player. All right, so that's just a little bit about the receivers. Okay, again, I like Jacoby George, great speed, showed flashes last year. Romello Brinson had that amazing catch against basically that JV football team out of Connecticut, but it was a great catch nonetheless. All right, Brashard Smith and that blazing speed, that we saw, I believe it was against NC State, on 4th and 1. Yeah, again, I love this receiver core. Aside from the drops, okay, and aside from the inconsistency in practice, I do believe this group will get it together. They have to get it together. If not, it's going to be a lost season, for them. And some of these guys, they want to build their stock, as future NFL draft picks. And we know that under Gaddis' system, that's a major possibility because Gaddis has done it in elite environments like Alabama and also Michigan as well. And from what I've heard, as far as practicing the offenses goes, Gaddis' offense is a bit more complicated than that of Rhett Lashlee. Rhett Lashley's offense was an air raid type, up tempo. Just get you guys open in space. Very simple playbook. As long as you had good athletes, the plays could be executed correctly, and you had a good quarterback to deliver the football. You were good in Lashley's system. There's a bit more combinations in terms of Gaddis' system where you see a lot more switching and guys, in motion, trying to basically observe what the defense is doing. And obviously, there's more power running coming from Gaddis as well, which is what Mario Cristobal likes. So it's a bit more of a variative type of offense. We will see, a bit of a spread with Gaddis, but don't get it twisted. We will go smash mouth as well because that's what this team is going to be built on. And that's how we're able to get those recruits at the offensive line position. So now I'm going to dive into the tight ends a bit. I'm only going to talk about 3 guys. Okay, the first guy I'm obviously going to talk about is Will Mallory. All right, Will Mallory is just an absolute stud. Now, Will Mallory had the case of the drops last year early on in the season. Had some key drops against Alabama. He had a major drop against Michigan State that might have changed the trajectory of the game a little bit, but nonetheless, as the season progressed, Will Mallory became a favorite target of Tyler Van Dyke, and he's also very dependable. More than likely, if the receivers are not up to task in terms of catching the football, getting open, and making the plays they're supposed to be, or being in the right spots, when Tyler Van Dyke delivers the football, the tight ends will see a lot of targets. Okay. And Will Mallory will be the leading receiver if that's going to be the case. That's only if the wide receivers tend to struggle. But the tight end, I do believe, will be a major component of this offense because there's just too much talent out of the tight ends, right? You have guys that could start anywhere in the country, and Miami's got 3 guys in particular that could steal the helm. Okay. So let's go a little bit about in terms of Mallory statistics. Okay. Mallory had 30 receptions last year for 347 yards and 4 touchdown catches. All right. He had a major reception against Florida State, a touchdown reception, in that game as well. We all remember the Pitt game, that beautiful flea flicker where he received that beautiful bomb from Tyler Van Dyke. All right. So when Will Mallory's been given opportunities, especially the second half of the season, he's been able to contribute. The interesting part about the Miami Hurricanes is that they've always been known as quarterback U, because of the legendary quarterbacks that we've had and Heisman Trophy winners. But tight end U is not too far from it, all right? Miami has had tight ends, such as, Bubba Franks, Jeremy Shockey, then you go into David Njoku, and now you have Brevin Jordan, who was a solid tight end for us, now playing in Houston. And now you have Will Mallory that I do believe will also make it to the NFL as well. The Canes also have, Elijah Arroyo, who's a very talented and skilled tight end, all right, as well. Very quick, very quick off the ball, in general, and good in space, solid hands, great speed. Elijah is a very dependable tight end. If you want to do a 2 tight end set between he and Mallory. And let's not sleep. I do believe freshman Jaleel Skinner, based upon his height, and he's gotten bigger, will get some run at tight end as well. So you may look at a 3-headed monster potentially by the Miami Hurricanes with Jaleel Skinner. I do believe Jaleel Skinner will be more of a red zone threat than, pretty much having the football, receiving the football, from let's say his own 30-yard line. Okay. I do believe it will be more of a red zone threat because of his height and his ability to leap into the air than, let's say, because his age, and also like Mallory has earned a spot and so on. But so we will see, what happens with Jaleel. But I do believe Jaleel will get some touches this year. And also we have Khalil Brantley, another guy that's I heard has been practicing well. So that's just a little bit of that element. Okay, so the tight end position, the wide receiver position, the Canes are loaded. All right, the Canes have a good core of young wide receivers that could make some serious noise in the ACC and also make noise nationally. And we could upset Texas A&M and Clemson. All right, I am afraid. Listen, in boxing, you always have a puncher's chance. I don't want to make the same mistake I made last year in regards to Alabama and have any glimmer of hope and say that, well, they could catch up. Texas A&M is a very loaded football team. Jimbo Fisher's teams are always very well coached, and he had the top recruiting class, this past year. So that's something, the 2022. So that's something that you have to recognize. Also, we're playing on the road. It's not a neutral site like it was last year against Bama. So that's I'm going to be very careful. Most pundits, even Canes fans alike that have channels like this, like Inside the U, 247 on the Canes side, in general, they do predict a loss against Texas A&M. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm hoping that the A&M game is the Ohio State game from last year, when no one gave Oregon a chance to beat, Ohio State and Columbus, and Mark Cristobal's team went in there and shocked the Buckeyes. All right. So what I'm hoping is a repeat of last year against the Aggies, where TVD lights it up, Jalen Knightland gets his runs in, and the Canes are able to upset, the Aggies, because the Aggies will be a favorite in that game. They'll probably be like a 10-point favorite, conservatively speaking. But nonetheless, they will definitely be a favorite. But I'm hoping and praying that is the game, right? That is the game that is the Ohio State for Mario Cristobal this season, where they upset a major team, especially an SEC team like, Jimbo Fisher's Texas A&M group. All right. So that's just a little bit of my take. All right. That's my take on the wide receivers. Again, also very loaded on the tight ends. Okay. I think we're very good, in those skill set positions. I think Tyler Van Dyke has a lot of toys to play with, and Josh Gaddis has a lot of pieces, to put in the right space, in the right spot, put in motion to basically be hell on defenses, because we just have that much speed, at the skill position. All right. Both in the wide receiver and tight end. And I do believe, aside from the drops, that we've been hearing about in practice, I do believe that when the season rolls along and Miami gets his feet wet against other opponents that aren't their teammates in practice in Greentree, we will see the wide receiver step up. That's just my take. Will we beat Texas A&M? Will the Canes beat Clemson? I don't know. I'm hoping for it. I do believe, though, and I am saying this, if Clemson's offense is anything like it was last season, the Canes have a immense shot, and I mean immense shot of upsetting Clemson, because Clemson, for the life of me, couldn't score last year with DJ Ugalele as their quarterback. For the life of me, could not score. And this is a team with stud players, okay? And Ugalele was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school, but for the life of me, they could not score. So if that's the Clemson that shows up against the Canes, I do think the Canes could win that game, barring no stupid mistakes and no stupid penalties. Okay, that's just my take. I do think that the Canes have a better shot of beating Clemson, because they know Clemson's personnel a little better, being an ACC team, than Texas A&M's. But what I'm trying to say is that if Clemson shows up with the offense they had last year, okay, the Canes do have a legit shot of beating Clemson, because there's too many guys at the skill position, and there's been too much improvement in terms of coaching and personnel on the offensive line, okay, and the defensive line as well, that Miami will put up an egg like they did with Manny Diaz a couple years ago. I don't see that happening this season. Right? Even if Clemson has a better offense, I don't see them laying an egg over there, in South Carolina like they did 2 years ago. I do believe that this team will play much better, be more competitive. But we'll see. What I'm saying it right now, if Clemson's offense is playing the way they did last year, the Canes do have a very legit shot at an upset. That's just my opinion. You can bash me all you want. You call me crazy, but that's just an honest perspective. All right. That's just an honest perspective. All right. So I'm glad you like I hope you like my take, in terms of how I analyze the wide receivers. Okay. I analyze the wide receivers and how I analyze the tight ends as well. All right. But I cannot leave you without my poem that I have written, my autistic license, in tribute to Ohio State and their fans. Okay. So to start with, this poem is called Ode to Ohio State. Yes, it is true. You did get Jaden Bonsu. And yes, you had your fun. Oh, wait, I still see CJ Verdell on another run. Forgive me, if that line made you cry. But I did see another touchdown by running back Travis Dye. But no worries, Buckeyes. You got this. Because we now have Josh Gattis. All right, so hope you like it. All right, hope you like it. Ohio State fans keep talking trash. I'll just keep responding. So that's just my take on it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you've heard on my social media pages and so on. I want to set a goal. Okay, this channel has been doing very well, and I want to thank you, especially those UM fans out there that have been very supportive. This channel has been doing very, very well. So I have a goal. All right, I will have a goal that I want to hit 1,000 subscribers. All right, again, 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month of September. We're a quarter of the way there. So please, please tell your friends to please like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports now. So once again, I can keep giving you this great content that you seem to be enjoying. And I also want to build a better program for you. The more subscribers I get, the better the program will become. All right, because I'll start getting monetized. Wink, wink. All right. So, anyways, that's besides the point. So yeah. So if you do like the program, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Once again, that is it for me. I am Will. Oh, and before I go, I will say coming up soon, I will be doing an interview with Local 10's Clay Ferraro. He will be coming on the show. We will be discussing the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Hurricanes. So stay tuned for that. That'll be here in two weeks. All right. So once again, I am Will. Stay safe. God bless. See you soon.